Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about the United States, the Philippines, and China. We are going to briefly go over what happened, talk about the reporting. Then we're going to talk about why it happened, which is so far absent from the reporting. And then we are going to get to the teachable moment, because there's definitely one there for a lot of Americans. Okay, so what does the reporting say? It says that the United States ran an influence operation inside the Philippines with the express goal of undermining faith in China's vaccine. What is an influence operation? Exactly what it sounds like. A covert operation designed to influence a populace. In this case, it took place on social media, but it can be done in other ways. In this case, like many modern ones, it is taking place on social media, or it took place on social media. It was reportedly run by the Pentagon, and it started under Trump and ended shortly after Biden took office. The time frame, as far as what they've established as to when it ended, was spring. So within 1 to 4 months of him taking office, he ended it. My guess is as soon as the White House found out about it. Why? Because it's a bad idea. This is out of bounds. This should not have happened. The reason it's out of bounds, even in the world of foreign policy, where nothing is about morality, it's all about power, is the outrage and the backlash you are about to see. Because my guess is there's going to be a lot of it. Okay, so that's what happened. Now, the mechanics of it, real quick. Basically, social media posts just asking questions, sowing doubt about the effectiveness of China's product or their motivations, so on and so forth. Why did it happen? Because under the Trump administration, the U.S.-Philippine relationship became, let's just call it, strained. It got to the point where they didn't even care if they lost us as an ally. I want you to think about how bad it has to be for a country to no longer care if the U.S. is their ally. Because when you are looking for a country that you want backing you up, a country that will literally go to war over anything is a really good ally. But the relationship became so strained under Trump that China had the opportunity to establish a foothold. This was the U.S. way of trying to undermine their ability to exercise soft power and get the Philippines on their side. That's what it had to do with. Again, I'm explaining why it happened, what happened, not saying that it's good. Unequivocally, this is out of bounds. The United States should not be involved in this type of influence operation. Okay, now, the Trump supporters are obviously going to say, that's not true, you're saying that after the fact, blah, blah, blah. Down below, there will be a video. It's from, I think, 4 years ago. It's called Let's Talk About a Trump Foreign Policy Report Card. The very first country discussed is the Philippines. He messed it up. Period. There's no real arguing it. If he hadn't have done that, this probably wouldn't have happened. They might still have done it, but it would be much less likely. Okay, so what's the teachable moment here? Influence operations happen all the time. Some, to my way of thinking, are out of bounds, but not all countries believe that. The influence operation, they work by asking questions. And when it comes to social media, you see a unique formula pretty often. X is bad. And that's the position that the influence operation wants you to take. The first post says X is bad. Somebody comes along and says, no, X is good. That post, that's also ran by the influence operation. A bunch of different accounts. The X is good post, it gets trashed. A whole bunch of other people come along, also ran by the influence operation, and by people, their accounts. Most of these are ran by one person. And it creates the perception of a widely held belief. And it reinforces the just asking questions. It makes it seem as though it's fact. Once they get you not just believing or questioning as far as just asking questions, once they get you arguing and saying, hey, yeah, you know what? That's true. At that point, they've got you. They've got you. You will fall into an information silo because you're looking for other people who will reinforce that view. Those other people, they're not actually people. Their accounts ran by the influence operation, and then they can feed you other stuff. If you want evidence of this, look in the United States. Influence operations happen all the time. They happen here too. It might be helpful for researchers to draw up a Venn diagram of the politicians who just had questions about the effectiveness of the vaccine and those who oppose assistance to Ukraine. Why? Because the social media influence operations both originated in the same spot. You are a target of influence operations all the time. If you are active on social media, you're hit with it constantly, and you don't even know it. Now, sometimes it may be well removed. You may not actually have contact with the initial influence operation. You have contact with people who were influenced by them, which is the same thing, because they've got them arguing on their behalf. There's a reason why there is a line of argumentation in the United States that is pretty consistent among a specific group that all benefits one country. It's because that country is really good at running these operations. Russia has been doing it, and they've been doing it about public health for decades. If you want to see how far it goes back, look at Operation Denver is the name of it. If you want to find it, I think you have to look it up as Operation Infection with a K. But the real name was Operation Denver. And that had to do with HIV. That's how long these have been going on. They had success with it, so they kept at it. What the U.S. did, it shouldn't have done. It should not have done. It is out of bounds. It produces short-term positive effects and long-term damage. It should be out of bounds. Going after public health, humanitarian situations, all of that, it should be out of bounds. So that's what occurred. That's why it occurred. That's the teachable moment. Now, just as an aside, to end on something a little less depressing, every time I talk about influence operations and I'm wearing this shirt, people ask why. This is a band, a made-up band called Cold Slither from G.I. Joe. The band was an influence operation. Catchy slogan, got people repeating it. Same thing. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.